Good morning, everyone, or afternoon to my friends on the East Coast. This is Stacy Wolken, and I'm here with Isabel Perney, and we are getting ready to start our webinar to update you on what's the latest and greatest going on in Paris. Thank you all for attending. I want to just for a minute just ask you if you can see my screen and if you can hear me well. So if some of you could just answer in on the questions, you'll see an area there where you can type in on questions. If you could just let me know if you can see the screen and hear me. Okay, yes, I can see and hear. Yes, visible and audio. That's good. All right, sounds like we're good to go. Just double checking and seeing if anyone else has anything. Yep. Okay. Okay, Isabel, you got to be quiet, though. I can hear Isabel whispering in the background. All right, we're still waiting for a few people to get on here, to get onto the webinar. But in the meantime, what I'd like to do is just sort of give you an idea about how this is going to go and let you know about the question and answers at the end. So we are going to have Isabel start in with her presentation. She'll have some great updates on Paris and then also some nice day trips from Paris for your clients. I do have to tell you we have a mixed bag of people on the webinar. We have some that are probably very experienced with Paris and know it well, and we have some that are a little bit newer to the area. So for those that are really experienced, please bear with us. Isabel is going to try and do as much as she can on updates and new things, but there are a few basics that we'll review for you as well. So again, please bear with us if this is something that you already know. We have to try and kind of have the webinar to appeal to everyone, so we've got a mix of people. And so she'll go through all of that. As we go along, if you have any questions, please type them in, and we will answer your questions at the end of the webinar. So we've left time towards the end of the webinar to go through your questions and reply to your questions towards the end of the webinar. So it's difficult to do the answers while we're actually speaking. So again, please type in your questions as we're going through the webinar. After Isabel is done, I'm going to run you through a few things on some shortcuts for using our website, Exclusively Hotels, and then some recommendations on some hotels. Again, there's lots of hotels, so I've just tried to pick as many as I can without it going too long. And then again, we'll go through the question and answer, and then at the end, the last screen will have all of our contact information. So please don't worry about that. We'll make sure that you have all our contact information, and it will go out in the follow-up email after the webinar. Okay, I think that's all the housekeeping, and we're in good shape now. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and give the control over to Isabel as soon as I find where's my, there you go. Okay, Isabel, you are now on.
Okay, well, all right. Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel, and well, welcome to France. France, of course, is a very attractive destination for many reasons. It is the most visited country in the world and the most visited European destination for American travelers before Great Britain and Italy. There were 3.2 million U.S. visitors who visited France in 2013, which represents a 2% increase versus 2012. But for this presentation, we're going to focus on Paris and surrounding areas. So let's start first with a few figures. Paris is a close destination, 2 airports. It is the first European hub, and we have 6 international train stations where, as I said, everything is close. Barcelona is just 6 hours and 25 minutes away. London, a little over 2 hours. 29 million visitors in 2013 went to Paris, and Paris is the most visited city by Americans with 1,636,172 hotel arrivals. So if you or your clients needed some reasons to come to Paris, and hopefully you don't, some of them could be that Paris has a unique cultural offer, some key not-to-miss events, more and more shops open on Sunday, a dynamic hotel sector, quality and affordable restaurants. Paris always will be the capital of shopping and fashion. Paris offers new and original ways of getting around, and Paris is an eco-responsible city. But first, for those of you who may not be familiar with Paris, this is a small map where you see the river Seine that divides Paris into 2 banks, the right bank to the north of the Seine and the left bank to the south, connected by 36 bridges. Also, Paris is divided into 20 arrondissements, or districts. Hopefully, we will have enough time to visit most of them during the presentation. So, without further ado, let's start with a quick overview of some of the most well-known landmarks. Here, you can see the Arc de Triomphe, which stands in the center of the Place Charles de Gaulle, which was originally named the Place de l'Étoile, which is located at the western end of the Champs-Élysées. And of course the Eiffel Tower, named after the engineer Gustave Eiffel, whose company designed and built the tower. It was erected in 1889 as the entrance arch of the 1889 World Fair. Now, located in the 7th district, what we see here is the Musée Rodin, which was opened in 1919 and dedicated to the works of the French sculptor. We're back near the Champs-Élysées here in the 8th district of Paris, and we're seeing the Petit Palais, which means small palace, which is an art museum that was built for the 1900 Universal Exhibition. Of course, one of the greatest museums in the world, I should say, is the Louvre. It is one of the world's largest museums and a historic monument. It is a central landmark of Paris, and it's located on the right bank of the Seine in the 1st arrondissement. Nearly 35,000 objects from prehistory to the 21st century are exhibited over an area of more than 650,000 square feet. With more than 9.7 million visitors each year, the Louvre is the world's most visited museum. What we're seeing here now is the Tour Jean Sans Peur, which means the Tower of John the Fearless. It is a defensive tower in Paris which was built between 1409 and 1411 by Jean Sans Peur, John the Fearless, and it is located in the 2nd district of Paris at 20 Rue Étienne Marcel. This gives you a pretty good overview of Paris. This is a view from Notre Dame Cathedral, and you see some of the 36 bridges of Paris. Here, of course, is the Sacré-Cœur, a Roman Catholic basilica located at the summit of the Butte Montmartre in the 18th district of Paris. It is actually the highest point in the city. So now that we've seen a little bit of the classical monuments, the classic Paris, let's surprise you a little bit. Paris can be a bit unusual, for instance here with very original fireworks. We also have Christmas markets in the heart of the city. Here you can see some unusual decorations on the Place de Catalogne in the 14th district of Paris, some carousels in front of the Grand Palais, and who knew, a windmill in Montmartre near the Sacré-Cœur. illuminations at the Quai Branly in the 7th district of Paris. That's for the unusual side of Paris, but it is impossible to mention Paris without speaking about culture. Paris is constantly updating and enriching its cultural offer. Seen here are the new Berges de Seine. These are newly redesigned Seine riverbanks, and it's now a 4.5 hectare area for pedestrians with floating gardens, mooring areas for boats, leisure activities, and outdoor cafes that we name guinguettes, and various eateries. Seen here from Place de la République to Pantin in the northern part of Paris, there are 4 kilometers of urban redevelopment around the La Villette Canal Basin with cultural venues, museums, historic sites, restaurants, public transportation, parks and gardens. Again, Paris has a unique cultural offer, starting with the first slide, which is the Musée Gustave Moreau. We also have the Zoological Park of Paris, the Musée Picasso that hopefully will reopen in September, and the first floor of the Eiffel Tower, which is being refurbished, which also should reopen in the fall of 2013. Here you have the Foundation Jérôme Sédou, which is a foundation devoted to French cinema. And on the right-hand side, the slide is the Foundation Louis Vuitton for Contemporary Art, and the architect for that foundation is Frank Gehry. Here, the Philharmonie de Paris, which is a symphonic concert hall of 2,400 seats, and it should complete the Cité de la Musique in 2015. It is located in the Parc de la Villette in Paris, and it is mainly dedicated to symphonic concerts. The Philharmonie de Paris will also present other forms of music, such as jazz and world music. Les Halles. Now, Les Halles will be reorganized and modernized to make the district more welcoming to visitors and will become more cohesive, more open to the city, and better integrated into an urban environment. There will be an inviting new public garden, a larger pedestrian district, a new building inspired by nature. That's what you see on the slide. It's called La Canopée. A greater number of easier-to-use pathways and routes, a larger, more functional regional train station, an enlarged, refurbished shopping center, more cultural facilities, and a reorganized underground network. Next to the canopy, you can see the Tour Triangle. It is a proposed skyscraper located in the exhibition site Parc des Expositions at the Porte de Versailles in the southern part of Paris. It will take the shape of a 180-meter tall glass pyramid, wide from one side and narrow from another. Underneath, you see the Batignolles area, which is considered a very fashionable place to live. This area was actually supposed to be the Olympic Village for the Paris Olympic Games in 2012, but since Paris lost its bid to London, in its place it is being redeveloped into a huge district centered around the new Martin Luther King Garden. In 2015, it is foreseen to build 3,400 habitations, 30,000 square meters of shops, 140,000 square meters of office buildings, and many public facilities, starting with schools, nurseries, and whatnot. And then the last picture in this slide is the Ile-Seguin, which is an island on the Seine River between Boulogne-Billancourt and Sèvres, which are western suburbs of Paris. And the architect Jean Nouvel is leading a project to turn this island into a cultural hub. Further constructions with the first image, you see the construction of Majunga and D2. Those are very huge towers. representing 69,500 square meters of offices. Then the middle slide is the construction of the Phare Tower. It's a project of the American architect Tom Main, 296 meter high with 7,000 square meters of shops and services, including a panoramic restaurant on the 66th floor. It should be done hopefully by 2018. And then the third image shows the construction of the two Hermitage Towers, 320 meters high, with function room, auditorium, contemporary art gallery, shops, hotels, mostly 4 stars, with 210 guest rooms, conference center, and restaurants. Also expected to be finished by 2018. But Paris is also a city which has a lot to offer in terms of happenings and events. And here on this slide you have some examples of say major sporting events, starting with the Prix d'Amérique, which is a harness race at the Vincennes racetrack. You also have, of course, the Marathon de Paris, the Paris Marathon, which is held next time on April 12th. And then the French Open at Roland Garros, it just finished for this year, and the next edition is going to be from May 24th to June 7th of 2015. And moving right along, still some more thoroughbred race horses with the Prix de Diane and the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, June 14th, 2015. And then October 4 and 5 of this year, of 2014, for the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. And then, of course, the finish of the 101st edition of the Tour de France, which is going to take place this year on July 27th. More traditional events or eagerly awaited cultural annual events, such as the Fête de la Musique, which is every year on June 21st since 1982. Then, of course, the 14th of July, and Heritage Days. Heritage Days take place on the 3rd weekend of September since 1984, during which all public monuments and museums are free. Still more events, traditional this time, Christmas illuminations from early December to mid-January, and a bit more unusual events such as, for instance, Paris Plage. It's the image in the upper left corner. It's literally Paris beaches, and since 2002, Paris Beaches is a plan run by the Office of the Mayor of Paris that creates temporary artificial beaches each summer along the River Seine in the center of Paris. And since 2007, it has expanded also along the Bassin de la Villette in the northeastern part of Paris. So every July and August, roadways on the banks of the Seine are blocked off and host various activities, including sandy beaches and palm trees. Then the image just below represents Nuit Blanche, which means white night. And that's when art and culture reign until dawn. It was first launched in 2002. And since then, this event has become a hotly anticipated annual celebration of all things art and culture in the City of Light. Nuit Blanche sees countless Paris galleries, museums, city halls, and even swimming pools open their doors all night to visitors with free entry. Elaborate light installations, edgy performances, concerts, and happenings of all sorts attract hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. And last but certainly not least, Paris offers the best shopping plan ever. All the best addresses and thousands of items at discounted prices. But we'll talk more about shopping in a little while. I just want to mention quickly some major art exhibits. You have Les Impressionnistes en privé at the Musée Marmottan from February. It started in February and will go on until July of 2014. Then you have Le Pérugin, who was a great Italian painter of the Renaissance, at the Musée Jacques Marandré, and it starts in September 2014 until January 2015. And then also Marcel Duchamp at the Centre Pompidou. Again, same thing. It's going to start in September 2014 to the beginning of 2015. Hokusai at the Grand Palais from October of this year to November and December. Actually, I think it goes until January of 2015. You have a Jeff Koons exhibit at the Centre Pompidou starting this November until April 2015. There is quite a big contemporary art scene in Paris with, for instance, this exhibit Monumenta at the Grand Palais. These are Russian-born artists, Ilya and Emilia Kabakov, and they're celebrated internationally for their large-scale projects and ambitious installations. Actually, it's going to finish pretty soon. It's going to be ending on June 22nd. And then, of course, you have FIAC, which is the International Contemporary Art Fair in Paris that celebrates its 40th anniversary this year. I will certainly not forget the 70th anniversary of D-Day. There were massive celebration just this last June 7th in Normandy, but you also have a very big amount of events and exhibits in Paris. There are just too many for me to name them all, so I would advise you to go on the Paris Tourist Office website, www.parisinfo.com, where all the exhibits and events are listed. Let's talk a little bit about Paris as a very attractive and dynamic destination in terms of hotels. Paris has 6 palaces: the Bristol, the Georges V, the Meurice, the Park Hyatt Vendôme, the Plaza Athénée, and the Royal Monceau. Some of these deluxe properties are either opening or undergoing renovation, such as the Plaza Athénée, the Peninsula Paris, the Ritz, the Crillon, the Lutetia. There are also a lot of international chains opening, such as the Hilton Opera in Paris, the Hilton Chantilly, the Radisson Blu at La Défense, the Renaissance Republic, and the Renaissance Paris Saint-Cloud, Marriott Le Bourget. I mean, this is just to name a few. And you also have quite a new generation of innovative concept and designer hotels, such as Eugène en Ville and its Oyster Bar. It's one-of-a-kind hotel near the Opera in Paris, and Eugène invites you to dream in an incredible world where contemporary design and comfort blend together. You also have 123 Sebastopol, which is a 4-star cinema-themed design hotel dedicated to the 7th art, the movies, and nestled in the heart of Paris near République and Grand Boulevard. Also new and unique in its kind is a Félicien by Oliver Lapidus. He's a famous French clothing designer, and he has used his exceptional talent to create a hotel between fashion and design in Paris. Let's talk a little bit about food. Paris is increasing its efforts to offer affordable and quality restaurants. There is a never-ending selection of restaurants ranging from exceptional cuisine to casual gourmet. In all, there are 81 Michelin-starred restaurants in Paris, including 10 3-star addresses. More and more restaurants cater to the needs of international visitors, with English-speaking staff, menus translated in English. As gastronomy is really a way of life for French people, but specifically for Parisians, there's a lot of affordable addresses by famous chefs, such as Terroir Parisien, and the chef is Yannick Aleno. Also Lazare, with the chef Éric Fréchon. He used to work at the Bristol. And also Tout Mieux, with the chef Jean-François Piège. Now, some of the latest trends in gastronomy are bistronomy, which combines the words bistro and gastronomy. The best bistros are now serving really great food at decent prices and in a much less stuffy atmosphere than a Michelin 2 or 3-star restaurant. For example, you have a bistronomy such as Saturne, also have H Kitchen, Buvette, etc. Last but not least, street food is becoming a real successful yet simple concept, which is almost as old as the streets of Paris themselves. The food is prepared and sold on the city's pavements and designed to be easily eaten on the fly. So this not so haute cuisine runs the gamut from sandwiches to kebabs, empanadas to dim sum without ever breaking the bank. Let's talk a little bit about shopping, but this is actually a great transition between what we just saw, the gastronomy, and what we will talk about, shopping, since this slide is really devoted to street markets in Paris. Paris markets are such a true pleasure. You can find one in almost any district of Paris. Most of them will focus on food, while a few others will sell anything from flowers and stamps to unique antiques. So I just wanted to give you a few examples. So seen here is our two markets. The first image represents the market in the Rue Mouffetard. Rue Mouffetard is a lovely and animated street with cafes and restaurants. Hemingway described actually this market and the street in A Movable Feast. The market features stalls of fruit and vegetables along with many grocers, also hawking charcuterie, pâté, seafood, cheeses, and pastries. Then the image just below that is the market in the Boulevard Raspail, which is a bit of a unique thing in Paris since it is the grandest and most beautiful organic market of Paris, with, so I'm told, an outstanding Italian mozzarella stand. So Paris is definitely the capital of shopping and fashion, with massive sales, les soldes, twice a year in the wintertime and in the summertime. And then Shopping by Paris from December to January since 2006. Shopping on Sundays is becoming more popular and can now be done in 7 districts of Paris: La Défense, Champs-Élysées, Montmartre, Rue de Rivoli, Rue d'Arcole, Marais, and Saint-Germain-des-Prés. New shopping centers and outlets are opening, such as the first image on the left-hand side is Aéroville, which is situated near the airport, near Roissy, and it's a pedestrian path with 200 shops. The natural light will be present everywhere in the center thanks to the glazed ceiling and to 3 big side windows. Then we have the Beaugrenelle Shopping Center. It's an enormous complex of 3 centers across 6 floors, city, magnetic, and panoramic. With its glass ceiling, free Wi-Fi, and 8,000 square meters of roofing overgrown with greenery, this is a vast and very modern undertaking. Clothing boutiques, food shops, cinema, restaurants, and services ranging from post office to police station, Beaugrenelle sets out to please as many people as possible. And then One Nation Paris, which is to become the largest luxury and fashion outlet in France. Its 112 boutiques will sell end-of-season products at discounted prices, and the minimum discount will be 30%. Some major department stores have been refurbished, such as the BHV in the Marais area, the Printemps at the Carrousel du Louvre, which is going to be open 7 days a week beginning in January, and Le Bon Marché. Luxury brands are available in some well-known centrally located streets of Paris, such as Tiffany on the Champs-Élysées, Bucherer, the fine Swiss watchmaker, on the Boulevard des Capucines near the Opera in the 9th district, and Shangxia on the Rue de Sèvres in the 6th district of Paris. Shangxia is a brand that has a unique heritage of Chinese design and craftsmanship. Shangxia's collections are comprised of furniture, fine decorative arts, accessories, and luxurious garments. And of course, let's not forget the classics for shopping, such as Aéroport de Paris, La Vallée Village Outlet, Le Printemps, and Galeries Lafayette department stores, where obtaining a tax refund when shopping is becoming a much easier process. But how to get around in Paris in order to see all of that? Well, there's actually many easy, original, clean, and low-cost ways of getting around and discovering Paris, starting with Vélib, which is the equivalent of city bikes in the US. You also have Autolib, which is the same thing as Vélib, but for cars. We have hybrid taxis and, of course, Bateau Mouche. There are more modes of transport adapted for all users: night buses, automatic metro, cheap transportation passes. For instance, the Paris Visite Pass is your travel card giving you free access to the public transportation system in central Paris. From metro, trains to buses and trams, getting around the city is made really easy with the Paris Visite Pass. And just as an example, a one-day unlimited pass for zones 1 and 2, which is Paris proper, is €6.60. Very briefly, talking about passes, let me also mention the Paris Museum Pass, which gives you free entry to over 60 of Paris's most famous museums, art galleries, and historic monuments, including the Louvre and Arc de Triomphe. With the Paris Museum Pass, you gain free entry without queuing and as many times as you wish into these museums. You have 3 options to choose from: a 2-day pass for €42, a 4-day pass for €56, or a 6-day pass for €69. The only thing is that it has to be used in consecutive days. Now, back to transportation. You can also discover Paris with quite unique and original ways, which is still environmentally very correct, from renting a deux chevaux or a Segway, or even the Little Blue Train, another Paris, which offers guided cultural tours of different districts on board a Little Blue Train, entirely glassed over and covered in the winter. Last but not least, Airship Paris, a 90-minute Zeppelin flight that takes you over some spectacular sites around the Paris region, including the Château de Versailles, the Gardens of Versailles, Port Marly, and the equally remarkable Paris skyline. Paris is a green and eco-responsible city. Parks and gardens are springing up all over the capital. Public parks and gardens are equipped with free Wi-Fi. Urban planning is being made with a sustainable development focus. Before we move on to the outskirts, I wanted you to be aware of the Paris Tourist Office's new website in English. It's www.parisinfo.com. It's a high-performance tool for professional. Again, the address is www.parisinfo.com. Yeah, there is no dot between the Paris and the info. Sorry about that. So you have dedicated websites for leisure tour operator and journalists, as well as for business tourism. Here you have various publications: Paris for You, Good Food Guide, Visiting Paris, Shopping Book, Paris Maps, that you can find on this website. But now that we know everything about Paris, let's go towards the outskirts. It is so easy to discover the outskirts of Paris, especially on a one-day tour basis. All the places we're going to see on the next slides are never more than 1 hour to 1 hour and a half away from the center of Paris. From Versailles, which is southwest of Paris, to Auvers-sur-Oise, not shown on this map, but just directly northwest of Paris, to Meaux, northeast of Paris, and Fontainebleau and Vaux-le-Vicomte, southeast of Paris. These are just some some options that you can choose from. Starting with, of course, the Château de Versailles, which has been on UNESCO's World Heritage List for 30 years. It is one of the most beautiful achievements of 18th century French art. The site began as Louis XIII's hunting lodge before his son, Louis XIV, transformed and expanded it, moving the court and government of France to Versailles. Each of the 3 kings who lived there until the French Revolution added improvement to make it more beautiful. Case in point, the magnificent Hall of Mirrors, which is the embodiment of classical French art. From the Petit Trianon to the Queen's Gardens, passing by the Hamlet, the estate, opened in 2006, reveals Marie Antoinette's private life. And for your clients, they will be able to experience the joys of exploring the fountains and groves with their water features spouting to the rhythm of music. Several circuits are available to enable them to enjoy the numerous masterpieces of the gardens. Moving on to Vaux-le-Vicomte, your clients will actually be able to go back in time and live the 17th century experience while visiting this castle, which is the forerunner of Versailles. It's the perfect harmony between 17th century architecture and the French-style gardens. The castle is family-owned and managed, still now, since 150 years. You can enjoy daytime visits, candlelight visits, as well as many events organized throughout the year, such as weddings, kids' animations, etc. We're now in Fontainebleau, and the Château de Fontainebleau is one of the most beautiful furnished chateaux in France and is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with 3 remarkable gardens and a large estate of 130 hectares. It's the only chateau to have been actually inhabited by all of France's sovereign rulers from the 12th to the 19th century. You can discover the Renaissance masterpieces commissioned by Francis I, the great building works of Henry IV, and Marie Antoinette's exquisite interiors. Fontainebleau also is the capital of horseback riding activities with various prestigious events organized all year round. But Fontainebleau has also one of the most beautiful forests in France, and it is listed by UNESCO. Therefore, you can have a wealth of leisure activities. So, as a conclusion, Fontainebleau is really a place of culture, history, painting, and gastronomy. It's the real town of leisure. We are now moving to Barbizon and Moret-sur-Loing, which are really located next to Fontainebleau, and we will study very briefly the history of Impressionism. Barbizon, of course, the famous Barbizon School, was made up of over 150 painters who came to Barbizon from all over the world between 1830 and 1875. Their approach consisted of taking the academism out of French painting and painting nature for nature's sake. They started the French landscape artist movement, whose most famous painters included Millet, Corot, Rousseau, Daubigny, Diaz. And then the Barbizon School gave rise to other colonies of artists who left for other places, Moret-sur-Loing more specifically. And the famous Impressionist painter Alfred Sisley chose to move to Moret-sur-Loing, and a substantial number of sites and landscapes painted by him can still be seen here today. We're now going to Meaux, the land of the commemorations of the centenary of the First World War. Pays de Meaux promises you an unbelievably moving experience. From recreation of the battlefield to the aircraft and tanks on display, and thanks to projections, sound, broadcasts, and interactive terminals, the museum makes use of the very latest technologies to give the visitor a new understanding of the Great War. It's the biggest collection of Europe with more than 50,000 objects and documents. Blessed with a medieval heritage anchored around the diocese and the cathedral, the Meaux region offers its visitors cultural and artistic wealth. Last but not least, we're now in the Chateau of Auvers, located in the heart of Auvers-sur-Oise, which is exactly where Vincent van Gogh spent the remaining 70 days of his life. As a city of artists, the village of Auvers has 9 Impressionism memory sites and includes the grave of Vincent van Gogh, the church, the Musée de l'Absinthe, the Daubigny Museum, and the Chateau of Auvers, which offers a multimedia journey called Journey Through the Times of Impressionism. A journey through the time of Impressionists leads you through the tracks of the grand masters who have shaped the history of the village: Daubigny, Pissarro, Cézanne, Monet, and of course Van Gogh. Screenings of more than 500 paintings are brought to life with visual and oral special effects, popular music and songs of the period, old film extracts, photos from the old archives, and old objects and costumes help immerse the spectator in the atmosphere of Parisian life during the 19th century. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. In any case, if you want to learn more about France, we really hope to see you all in 2015 during our travel trade seminars. We'll be in the West Coast from February 2nd to February 5th in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Phoenix, and also Houston. And then on the East Coast from March 2nd to March 5th in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Chicago, and Dallas. If you need any further information, please visit our professional pages of our website, www.francetraveltrade.com. And if you want to get regular information on France and on our various events, please subscribe to our newsletter, Focus on France. I thank you for your attention.
Hello, everyone. Okay, we're going to switch back over to me. Although it does say Matthew Lepisto, sorry. There we go. Sorry, that is me, and our account is under Matthew Lepisto, but that is me. Thank you so much, Isabel. Lots of great information. We are running a little bit behind. I hope you guys are going to be able to stay on with us if you have any questions. I'm going to run through the hotels as quickly as possible. As you know, there's a lot of hotels in France. I'm going to touch on some of them. Please be aware these are not necessarily that I'm advocating these hotels. It is still up to you to determine whether they are the right fit for your clients, but these are some that I've either received good feedback on, have good reviews, and I'll talk about the fact that we have direct contracts with them. So there's a lot of hotels in France. So again, the screens are quite packed, but I did want to give you as much information and as many photos as I could on the hotels. So bear with me on that. Okay. Isabel, if you could click, there's a little microphone. You have a little green microphone. If you click that, that'll mute you. And then we won't be able to hear you in the background while I'm doing this. Okay, what is a direct contract? So all of you hopefully are aware of this. You all should be registered with Exclusively Hotels, and we have rates that are contracted rates with block space. Some of those are through third parties, but what makes us really unique is our own contracting department, and those are what we call our DC Hotels direct contracts. And how you will know that they are direct contracts is when you see that little check mark that says recommended. So again, it's not that we advocate these over another, but these properties are our best sellers amongst our agency community worldwide. So I do like to stress that. As we know, there are different requirements for hotels around the world, and what's good to a North American is not necessarily what's good to a German or an Australian or whatever. So, sorry, let me get rid of this. There we go. So, With the direct contracts, these are usually our best values, not necessarily always the lowest price, but our best values. And we have a really good amount of inventory because we're working directly with the hotel. So not surprisingly, more than 50% of our bookings do go to DC properties. So you do want to watch for those when you see the little check mark recommended. Now, if you were to do a request, a search for Paris, if we had everything available that is out there, we have almost 1,200 hotels in Paris. That's a lot of inventory. So how do you narrow that down? With our filters. So the first thing, of course, I would always ask is if they have a preferred star rating for the type of hotel. And then the next thing really, I think, when you're talking about Paris is, do they want to be on the right bank or the left bank? Isabel talked about the arrondissements. Unfortunately, I don't have that wonderful little accent that she has, so my pronunciations will not be nearly as good as Isabel's are, but the arrondissements and the right bank or the left bank. Traditionally, the right bank was a little more, actually traditional is the word, with the left bank being a little more bohemian. I think that's really merged a lot over the years, and there's not quite as much of a difference. In the past, also, I think the left bank was known for having more of the three-star smaller boutique hotels that were a little less expensive. That's definitely not the case anymore. The left bank has become really popular, and the prices have reflected it. Those of you that have been booking Paris for a long time, it is my favorite city in the world. I love it, but it is very expensive. So hopefully you won't be too surprised when we start talking about some of the prices on the hotels. It's just what it is to experience this gorgeous city. So with the filters, as you'll see here, you can use multiple filters for us. So if they say they want to be on the right bank, you could click, I want to look at arrondissement 1 and arrondissement 8 and maybe 9, and you're looking at just the right bank. If you clicked 5, 6, 7, you could be looking at the left bank. So we allow you to use multiple filters so you can click away with multiple stars, multiple locations. So you don't have to do one at a time and come back out. I get a lot of questions about apartments in Paris, and the trick for that, there's a few tricks for it, is if you are looking for availability for larger numbers of people. So you'll see here in this corner here, I've put in 3 adults and 1 children. You're going to start to see a lot more of those apartments coming up. Even if you don't have that many people, it is one of the ways to sort of get some of the names of some of the apartments. We are going to be adding a filter for apartments, but right now we do not have that. Another possibility is under the hotel name. If you were to put in APART or RESID for residents, you do start to narrow down. In Paris, I find they use APPART. They use the French name for it. But if you start putting that in, as you can see here, you will start to get anything that has that in it. So I put RESID, and you're going to see here are the Residome, and there's actually all the Residomes came up, which is a popular apartment chain. And these are some to remember also. If you're looking for apartments, you can request these, but the Citadines, the Bridge Street, Residome, Apart, and Adagio are some that we carry that are apartments. I do find that a lot of the apartments tend to be a little bit further away from the river, so they're a little less expensive. As you move a little further away from the Seine. And be aware with the apartments, many times you will not be given the address until just a day or 2 before your clients check in. There will usually be a central place that they will pick up keys, and then they will have to get over to the apartment. So there are a few slight inconveniences to be aware of with apartments, and customer care can assist you with that when you're booking apartments. Okay, let's quickly get into, I tried to give you some of the different arrondissements here. Isabel mentioned the 123 Sebastopol, and we happen to actually have a direct contract with them. They are a part of the Ast Hotel chain, which seems to be a newer chain, and they're all quite nice. They all have complimentary non-alcoholic beverages in the room, and in the afternoons they have free soft drinks, refreshments, coffee, tea, madeleines, little snacks out at all of their hotels, which are really quite nice. The 123 Sebastopol is right now the #1 hotel on TripAdvisor. The Malte Opera, or I'm not sure if it's Malte or Malte Opera, is also in the 2nd arrondissement, and that's number 249 out of 1,796 hotels. So I thought that was interesting as well. On TripAdvisor, you know, just about everything is on there. 1,796 hotels, and we carry 1,200 hotels. So there's very few hotels in Paris that we don't carry. These are excellent locations near the Louvre and the Opera. The Malte is a little closer to the Louvre, and the 123 is a little closer to the Marais, the Pompidou, and the new area that I'm reading lots about now, kind of the new hip area, is the Canal Saint-Martin. Both, of course, are close to the metro. The Malte rooms are a little bit on the smaller side, 123 a little more moderate, but all are really nicely decorated. They're all modern with air conditioning, free Wi-Fi. All of the Ast hotels have free Wi-Fi, iPod deck, in-room safe. As Isabel mentioned, the 123 is cinema, French cinema themed. So as you can see here on the right-hand side, that's the check-in desk. It's got a little marquee there, and the rooms down at the bottom, they're all sort of themed from the French cinema. This one is at the top is one of the rooms in the Malte Opera, and then this one here on the left-hand side is the lobby area and lounge area in the Malte. So the Malte's a little more traditional looking. The 123 is a little more quirky and might not be right for all of your clients, but again, really bright colors and kind of fresh new. The 123 has premium, superior, and deluxe categories. The Malte has standard and superior. Both offer triples, and the Malte does have a duplex that is good for quads. They all received great reviews for their service and knowledge. Front desk, really knowledgeable, helpful, and all of the Ast hotels were all commented that they spoke really great English at the front desk. So that's something that sometimes can be a little bit of an issue. As I mentioned, the refreshments for free in the afternoon. In the summertime, we're looking, these are approximate rates on all the rates. I just picked a few different dates in July and August, September, October, and then November, December. So again, starting approximate rates, about $250 in the summer and $349 at 123, and then in the fall it's going to go up to Malte's about $324 and can go up to about $400, whereas the 123 will be about $350 to $400 and up to $600 a night. Okay, moving over to the 8th arrondissement near the Champs-Élysées for a 3-star, a really good 3-star at the Astoria Opera. It's on a quiet street between the Opera House and Montmartre, close to the metro and walking distance to many sites. Again, sort of modern decor, very clean, bright. They use neutral colors with pops of the reds and different brighter colors to add into it. All the rooms are non-smoking. The rooms are pretty small, as they are in all hotels in Paris. So please, that is consistent in all hotels in Paris. The rooms are small. American clients, unless they're told this, it can be quite shocking. It is just the way that it is there. Again, free Wi-Fi and the non-alcoholic beverages, standard and superior categories, but they also have an apartment with 2 connecting rooms for up to 4 people with also the possibility of a cot or an additional single bed. So a lot of room in that apartment. Their rates started around $180 a night for a double in the summer, and they go to about $200 to $345 in the fall. Again, one of the most desirable arrondissements, the 8th arrondissement, close to the Arc de Triomphe and the Opera House and the Rue de Rivoli and the Champs-Élysées. A 4-star in the 8th arrondissement. Sometimes people are surprised about this. The Clarions don't necessarily have the best reputation in the U.S., but like Best Western, their international properties have a much better reputation. This is a really solid 4-star in the 8th arrondissement. It's in a fabulous location for its price. It's in the heart of the Faubourg Saint-Honoré. I butchered that, sorry. The Fashion District, really close to the Arc de Triomphe and the Champs-Élysées, a highly desirable neighborhood, and their rates are really pretty affordable for that neighborhood. The rooms were recently renovated. Some have Eiffel Tower views. The beds were all noted as being really comfortable. Free Wi-Fi, and they also have the free non-alcoholic drinks in the room, and in the evening they have a cocktail reception, a free like manager's reception. Friendly, helpful staff, and in the summertime the rates are around $200 a night, and they go up to about $300 a night in the fall. Again, really great rates for that. Okay, also in the 8th, a 5-star property, I'm going to really butcher this one, Collectionneur Arc de Triomphe. It's in front of the beautiful Parc Monceau, which is one of my favorite parks, one of the most beautiful ones in Paris. You can walk to the Champs-Élysées. It's all very opulent Art Deco design. They have a beautiful garden, courtyard, and patio. It's a larger hotel with the restaurant and the bar. Most people commented that it was expensive, pretty typical for a 5-star hotel, but you walk outside of the hotel and you've got tons of bistros and restaurants and cafes to choose from. For Paris, the rooms are a good size. Some have balconies, and for a 5-star hotel, free Wi-Fi. That's unusual. Upscale room amenities, towels, and linens. Many commented that the breakfast was really excellent. It was one of the ones where they actually do cook the eggs to order, which is also not common in the breakfasts in Paris. Courteous and warm staff. So even though a 5-star, you know, that they really went out of their way to be helpful. It also has a spa and a gym, which is difficult to find in Paris. The Superior and Deluxe, the Deluxe includes spa access. They also have a concierge level, their executive level, with a private lounge with terrace with breakfast and snacks and refreshments. And they have multiple number of suites. Some have kitchenettes, some have 2 bedrooms, and they even have 1 3-bedroom suite. Their rooms are all either kings or 2 doubles. So again, a little more room if you're looking for a quad also, because many of the other rooms, hotels are just a double bed or 2 twins. And be aware, in most hotels in Paris, a double is going to be 2 twins pushed together. Unless you start getting to more of the American chains, then you start to see a true queen bed or a king bed. The rates range from about $450 in the summer up to about $700 in the fall. Okay, hopefully you can stay with me. I know that we're getting to the end of it. I'm going as fast as I can. The 9th arrondissement, which is sort of runs from Montmartre through the Opera House and down towards the 8th arrondissement. The 3-star Acadia Opera, it's located on a quiet street. Even though it's really in the middle of everything, it's on a little side street. So everyone mentioned that it was really pretty quiet. It's close to the Opera and the Galeries Lafayette and most of the department stores in that area, and convenient to the metro. It is a small hotel, about 36 rooms. This is an Ast hotel, so again, they have that free afternoon. Actually, it goes into 10 o'clock at night with the snacks and drinks. Free Wi-Fi in room. A lot of people commented that they did a great job with lots of electrical outlets. Nowadays, that's become quite an important thing with all of our different electronics that we carry. Again, the 2 twins pushed together. So even if it's twin beds, many times they will be right on top of each other. So if you have 2 men traveling, or you have a brother and sister or whatever, usually those beds are pushed together. You can see that here in the top photo here. The staff is very friendly. They do have triples that you can that will allow for a child using a rollaway, and they have an apartment duplex for 3 adults with a separate sitting room. No quads in this hotel. July-August rates, though, pretty affordable for this neighborhood, $175 a night, and in the fall, $250 to $350 a night. 4-star, there were 2 really good ones. We have a lot of them. In the 9th arrondissement is probably where we have the most DC hotels. So I included 2 here, the Arc Kipling and the Josephine. Again, a little bit closer to Montmartre than to the Opera House in the 9th arrondissement, close to the metro stations and bus stops for easy access. The Arc Kipling are the 2 photos at the top, the Josephine, the 2 photos at the bottom. They're both boutique hotels with 40 and 41 rooms. The rooms are small, but they're all really furnished lovely and very comfortable. You've got the same thing that you would find at the other Ast hotels that we mentioned. The Kipling has standard rooms, have a queen or twins with showers. Their superiors have kings or twins with bath. And then they have triples that will include a single sofa bed, and their suite will have a sofa bed for two. So you could do a quad in a suite. The Josephine, the doubles are queens with showers. Triples are 3 singles or 1 double with 1 single. Both have wheelchair accessible rooms. No quads at the Josephine. July and August rates start around $195 a night for a double, and in the fall it goes up to about $235 to $300 a night for a double. One that's been, that we have a DC that we get a lot of good comments on, so I included it. It's in the 11th arrondissement, but it's really closer to the Marais, so it is in a good location. You can walk to the Pompidou, the Place de Vosges, and the Bastille Market. It's a 4-star hotel, beautiful Art Deco design. It's got 7 buildings that are all around a garden courtyard, so really a nice setting, private parking garage. They are opening a spa and gym later this year, so as I said, that is unusual to find, so if you have somebody looking for that, that's an important feature. It's a larger hotel. There's about 263 rooms, so for Paris, it's a larger hotel. They do get a lot of groups and have some good meeting space, but the staff is still very helpful and personable. For Paris, their rooms are considered pretty large, and again, still has free Wi-Fi. Their categories are petite, superior, and executive rooms. The executive rooms have a balcony, and anything from executive and up has microwaves. They have doubles and twins. Junior suites and deluxe suites can have an extra bed. They have an executive junior suite that would have a sofa bed, and a Prestige has a sofa bed, and they can bring a rollaway in. And the Prestige also has 2 bathrooms. So when you're looking for some properties for when you have larger groups of people, keep that in mind. Approximately $180 a night in the double in the summer, and about $300 to $400 in the fall. On the left bank, I just kind of threw in some of the hotel recommendations. There are so many hotels there, although most of them will not do direct contracts. It's probably the area where it's the hardest to get wholesale rates because the hotels are small. They don't have a lot of rooms to give block space to, and they're quite popular and honestly don't need to do wholesale rates. So we do have a direct contract with the Villa Pantheon. It's in the 5th arrondissement, a great location. This is the top left-hand corner is the room at the Villa Pantheon, and the top right-hand is their bar area and lounge area. Helpful staff, a beautiful inner courtyard, and a really nice bar. In the 6th arrondissement, the next picture on the left is the Royal Saint-Germain in the heart of the left bank on a very popular shopping street. Really nice rooms, traditional decor, excellent bathrooms, and nicely priced for being in that location. The Jardin La Brea in the 6th is also a 3-star near the Luxembourg Gardens and Montparnasse, so a little further back from the river. Charming hotel with peaceful and relaxing atmosphere. The rooms are cozy and friendly service, and that's the lower picture on the lower left. And the De La Tour, oh, I'm sorry, no, that's the right one. The De La Tour Marburg is the lower picture on the left here, and that's in the 7th arrondissement. It's near the Rue Claire, which is a great pedestrian-only street with a wonderful market and close to the Invalides. It's across from the metro, has really helpful staff, again, free Wi-Fi, small and homey. And then the 7th arrondissement, the Duquesne Eiffel, many rooms with views of the Eiffel Tower, central location, and a historic building. And that's the photo on the lower right side. I'm noticing that a lot of hotels on the left bank, if they are giving wholesale rates, they're not including breakfast. So that seems to be a trend now with the left bank hotels. Okay, went through that as fast as I possibly could, and we are now run over, but what I'm going to do, here is all of our contact information. I am going to take a look at the questions now and unmute Isabel. I'll leave this screen up so that you can see the contact information, and let me go ahead. Isabel, if you unmute yourself with that microphone again, we can hear you.
Hello.
There she is. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry I had to go so fast, and again, I apologize that we've run over. I hope that you found this information to be helpful. Let me take a look and see about questions that we have here. The one question that was asked, and I just want to reiterate, I have recorded this webinar. You will be getting, in a couple of hours, you will be getting a follow-up email. It will have some survey questions. Please do take the time to answer that. It helps us to improve for the next time, and it's really important for me to plan on future webinars. We are trying to do these now every other month. We invite a different tourist board on to give you some advanced education, and I hope that you find them to be informative. And so you will get that link that you will be able to go back and listen to the webinar in your own time. You can fast forward and rewind. Travel industry discount rates. Please contact me about any kind of travel industry discount rates, and I will help you out with that. Someone else asked about commission. Commission is confidential, so again, please contact me if you aren't familiar with what your commission level is. But I can tell you that we are generous. I don't have anyone that's earning 10%. They're all earning more than 10% commission. So certainly when you start talking about these international hotels, and especially these little smaller boutique where you might get a non-commissionable rate or a 5% commission, maybe an 8% commission, you're definitely going to be earning quite a bit more by booking through us. Again, all of our rates are contracted rates and negotiated with block space. So if you find a hotel to be sold out, we may still have space because we have our block space. You do need to be registered to get onto our website. So if you do not have a login, or you aren't sure if you have a login, please email me and I will be happy to send you a reminder of your login or get you logged in. You should, most everyone that was invited that was registered, unless you forwarded it on to somebody else. It looks like we don't really have a whole lot of questions here. So actually, if you have any other questions, I'm going to give one more minute for you to log in and write any other questions that you have. And it looks like that is it. All right, everyone. I guess we covered it all, Isabel. No other questions on this one.
Thank you.
You have our contact information. It will also be in the follow-up email that you get. So if you need anything further from us, you've got the websites that Isabel gave you. I will tell you, I looked at that Info Paris website. It's a great website, so be sure to take a look at that. And then you have the France Travel Trade website for all of France if you're looking for information beyond Paris. Of course, we have hotels all over France. We have over 1,000 destinations in France alone that we carry hotels in. So all those little small out-of-the-way places, if you are doing any kind of a FIT where they're going to pick up a car and drive out into the countryside, you're going to find that we carry so many. I mean, I couldn't believe when I saw we had 1,000 destinations. So many small towns and villages throughout the countryside. We just wanted to focus on this webinar on Paris. And as you could see, there's a lot to focus on. Thank you all very much for your time. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Isabel, thank you. And have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.